little seat change, a little stream reboot.
We should have twice the bandwidth, I'm told.
Oh, well,
hopefully our hiccuping
exciting.
problems will go away. We have a game 3. I want to get down to the match as soon as we can. Bob Huang and Adrian Becker are duking it out. Both players are 4-0 at this point. Bob Huang, the first treasure cruiser, we've decided, is his new official title. The first treasure cruiser, and running treasure cruising here in Vintage as well. So I'm gonna guess that's Bob on the right. I see a young Pyromancer and a couple of tokens in play. Adrian Becker is on a burning long list, so this is as degenerate as the combo decks get. I'm gonna swap Brian out for Chris for the rest of the round.
Yeah, I got
Brian enjoy his last 10 minutes off.
I was once again signing Medley Mages.
Bob Huang is Huang is our player on the right.
I would totally sign a Dark Confidant if anyone asked me. So,
all right, young Pyromancer and 3 tokens. Pretty sure this is game 3, so it's 1-1.
This is against
Delver.
Grim Long or Burning Long.
Burning Long.
Used to be Grim Long.
Used to be Grim Tutor. Absolutely. Not a lot of action apparently. Looks like a Tinker got hit by a Pyroblast. Is how we got here.
Flipping my Delver with Treasure Cruise.
Not bad. How many cards in the graveyard? 1, 2, 3,
Looks
4,
like a
5,
lot.
6. Enough. How about I draw 3? Yeah, this game really came down to that Pyroblast on the Tinker. Adrian was set up. Go get a jar, keep going off. I mean, his game plan is just play 10 spells in a turn and point Tendrils of Agony at the opponent. So the way you fight a deck like that is you have to stop the card drawing. Pyroblast stopped the card drawing by stopping that Tinker. Treasure Cruise, young Pyromancer. The Legacy deck over the Vintage deck?
Blue spells are real liability these days.
Pyroblasts are everywhere. Does he have any in the main? It's definitely the kind. Yes, he only has 3 in the main deck.
Just 3, yeah.
Just 3. 3 main deck Pyroblasts.
I'm sure he doesn't sideboard any.
These are all in the main deck.
They are all in the main deck.
This is actually, I'm pretty sure this is, Rich Shea is credited as the deck designer here. I think this is just the Vintage Super League deck that Rich Shea is playing this set.
Yeah, I
5-0?
think it is. There's enough preordains. I thought Rich's deck. Yeah, 4 preordains. Yep, that's Rich's deck. That's exactly the same.
Cool. Wouldn't mind talking to Bob if we can get him over here.
Okay.
See if Brian can.
Also 5-0.
Yeah.
Oh, Joel Lim is also 5-0.
We have something coming up.
The defending champ.
We may be able to get a feature match with one of the non-powered decks.
Okay.
We have a list of the non-powered decks.
We have a list of the non-powered decks as well. It might be cool to get one of them in the feature match. I know the mono red deck is one that Twitter was asking for. So.
Oh, they're not just all Manaless Dredge.
They're not just Manaless Dredge. No, you can't play Dredge in Vintage without Bazaars.
Wait, yeah, what counts as power?
There's a list of like 20 cards.
Okay.
Mishra's Workshop counts as power.
Bazaar Baghdad.
Bazaar Baghdad counts as power. I think like what's the Portal 3 Kingdoms tutor? Whose name I'm blanking on. It's Beast. It's the Sorcery Speed Vampiric tutor.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
That counts as. It's not Grim Tutor. Grim Tutor's. It's Imperial Seal. Thank you. Imperial Seal counts as power.
Is it just that it has to cost over $200?
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, approximately. I don't know what exactly they drew the line. I think it's like 20-ish cards that count as power.
Might
only be a dozen.
Is Chains of Mephistopheles? Isn't that card like $200 now?
Is it really?
I think so.
That's insane.
You gotta. I mean, they gotta keep the price high if they want us to keep casting Treasure Cruise. We can't have everyone out there with Chains of Mephistopheles ruining everything.
I guess that's true. I can't argue with that logic.
Yeah, so that was just one of those. The combo deck has 1 spell and it gets countered games.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. I mean, there may have also been a Force of Will before we got there, but certainly when we tuned in, blast your Tinker. That's sometimes what it takes. I mean, if you're playing one of those combo decks and you've got, a bunch of fast mana and 1 business card, you kind of have to go for it.
All right, we're gonna get Bob in here.
Scooch.
Have a seat with Chris and Randy.
So was my last match, was that on camera?
We saw the end, we saw game 3.
Okay.
We got to game 3 a couple of turns in, just in time to see you Pyroblast a Tinker.
Yeah, that was so brutal.
Yeah, so tell us the setup, because we didn't see the first couple turns.
The setup was simple. So basically my hand was, I was on the play, I mulled to 6. My hand was Sapphire, Fetchland, Brainstorm, Lotus, and then I Brainstormed.
If you saw
and then,
the standing on the box, we are now starting.
Go ahead.
Please come up to the science
so basically,
area, or your judge
I
will
Brainstormed
meet
into
you.
Pyromancer
Once
Time
again,
Walk. So I went ahead and I did that.
Pyromancer Time Walk is good times.
Yeah, exactly. I had one card in my hand left after that, and I was deciding between Treasure Cruise and Mental Misstep. I decided on keeping Misstep because his deck has like Dark Rituals and stuff, or tutors, and might interact some way. Whereas Cruise, I wouldn't be able to play for a few turns at least. So I took my turn. I ended up drawing Pyroblast.
Oh, so shuffled away the Cruise with Fetch Land.
Oh yeah, so it was just
Pyroblast
blind
off
draw
the top.
Pyroblast. I had no idea what he had in hand, and he had no idea what I had in hand. So he definitely had to go for it, and I was very lucky.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
So you've got quite the history with Treasure Cruise at this point.
Yeah, I guess. It's funny. Like I've been playing around with some other decks, like non-Delver decks. Yesterday I played Sneak and Show and went 3/3 drop. But maybe I should just keep playing Ancestral Recall.
Yeah, Chris
that's
was
fair.
dubbing you as the first Treasure Cruiser.
Yeah, I mean, you really are kind of the first official treasure cruiser.
Yeah, well, it's thanks to my team back in DC. We tested the card extensively for Legacy, and then I worked with Rich a little bit to come to play Blue Red Delver and Vintage.
So you like the deck in the field? Is there a specific metagame you're expecting that you think you match up well against?
I think I match up well against the blue decks, and then Dredge is kind of like a coin toss. And then Shops, I mean, you're playing the red spells, so you always have game against Shops too. It's probably also fairly close. But I like the matchups against the blue decks just because you have so many card draw, you're going to outgrind them and draw more counter spells than they do.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What's the coolest play you've gotten to do so far today?
Let's see. Well, that last game 3 was pretty sweet. I'm sorry you guys missed the first turn.
Top decking Pyroblast to nail the Tinker?
Yeah, exactly.
How good is Black Lotus in this deck?
It's mediocre. I like it. I was actually talking to Rich about cutting it, and he was like, no. Because it synergizes well with Treasure Cruise.
Sure.
So that's like the mainstay for it. And then when you have like Pyromancer and Gush, occasionally that lets you not go back on lands. So, I mean, you definitely play it. But there are times where it's like, well, I wish this were like a Purity or something.
What about Dak Faden?
Dak is interesting. I was unsure about Dak. I was like, do we play Ancient Grudge instead? But Dak synergizes well with the 2 Gushes. You float the mana, you cast Dak, you Gush, then you discard like 2 lands. It's like drawing 4 cards basically. So it's good there.
It's interesting.
Seems like he fuels Treasure Cruise decently as well.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's funny. Rich showed me his deck for Vintage Super League, and my deck was like almost an identical deck, except I was trying out Thought Scours instead of Preordains, just because I was like, I'm not really trying to search for anything anyway. I just want to like always have something to Snapcaster, get my graveyard full. I think Preordain's probably better, but I was experimenting a little.
Sure.
But the deck seems very powerful.
Preordain's better than Gitaxian Probe?
I think so. You still want the card selection. You can set up Delver sometimes. Probe, you pay life. I guess there's not too many matchups where that matters as much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 2-4 split. I just would have guessed the 2-4 the other way, but deck certainly seems to be performing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've just been getting fairly lucky. Like I mentioned, I played against Dredge. In game 3, he molted 3, and then he couldn't find Bazaar, and he ended up keeping a hand. It was like Unmasked, Black Card, Mental Misstep. And then I happened to have...
Don't you molted 2 there with Dredge?
I think so.
I don't know. It's
Keep
like...
going. I'll mold a 1 with Dredge. It's a pretty simple rule. Do I have Bazaar Baghdad?
Yeah.
No, mulligan.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't mulligan a one card hand. That's when it stops.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if anybody in the history of Magic has ever done that. I have 1 bad card. I don't want this card. I guess maybe, I don't know, if you have like Blightsteel, that's your 1 card. You go to 0.
Oh yeah, you probably.
Sure, you probably do. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bad draw.
Do you know what Rich's record is?
So he started off as an Atog, so 1/2.
Uh-oh. It's his fault. It's his nickname, right? He's the Atog Lord.
I guess maybe he wanted to live up to his name. I don't know how he's doing. I haven't
1 and 2 for the Atog stats. Those of you who may not be quite as familiar, not the best start to the
Yeah,
tournament.
it's been a while since ATOG was relevant to
True.
constructed play or limited play.
I think he got to 2-2 is when I saw him. I guess I don't know how he did this round.
So yeah, so is Blue Red Delver going to win both tournaments this weekend?
We'll see. A lot of people are playing this deck because of Rich and because of you. So
Because of you.
okay, well, so I played the Legacy version,
Right, but-
and I guess that was day one, the Kickstarter. But yeah, that deck was amazing for that tournament. Now I didn't want to play it because there's so many mirrors going around, and I couldn't really figure out any way to break the mirror. So I was like, I'll play a deck that beats this deck. So I tried Sneak and Show, but I don't know.
Does Sneak and Show beat it in Legacy?
I think so. I think so. I did beat it on camera back in New Jersey, but he mulled the 5 game 1, and Pyroclasm out of the board is just a disaster.
Pyroclasm is incredible right now,
Yeah.
and this was my worry
fair.
about Blue Red Delver was that you don't have the interaction you used to have, and you're a little more all in. It just seems like I would have thought the Sneak and Show is much tougher now than it would have been with Rug Delver.
Yeah, so when the metagame's really fair, I think Blue-Red is pretty good because you're casting burn spells and drawing more burn spells, so you often just kill them. And I do think Blue-Red Delver is a little weaker to the Unfair decks.
Do your Sneak and Show play any of the cons cards? Do you play Dig or Cruise?
I played one Dig.
One Dig?
I was playing one main, one board.
Makes sense.
How was it?
It's interesting. It's so it does nothing when you're winning, but it's very good when you're about to lose or behind.
Interesting.
So I like playing those kinds of cards, but at the same time, it's sometimes you just can't cast it.
It's really I think I played Sneak and Show a couple times, and I lost to just random junk decks. They had a bunch of Thoughtseizes and they wastelanded me, and I was like, I literally can't win because I don't have enough cards in my hand. So there were many spots where if I could add exactly 2 cards I'm looking for, I feel like there's a lot of fair matchups where it's got to be nuts, where they kind of try to attrition you out, but it doesn't help at all as far as winning on turn 2, right? You never.
Makes sense.
But I mean, for a while, some people were trying Jace in the deck. It's got to be better than Jace. Jace was pretty thin.
Yeah, I definitely think it's an upgrade from Jace.
All right, well, thanks for chatting with us.
Yeah, no
good
problem.
luck.
Congratulations on the 5-0. Good luck keeping it up.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, good luck.
Hey.
All right. See you around. Roland Chang sitting at 5-0. Thinking, maybe the Delver Cruise can win both tournaments this weekend.
Yeah, Bob's at 5-0, Roland's at 5-0.
Yep.
Joel's
We heard Joel's at 5-0.
oh.
There can't be that many, right?
No.
We came into the round with...
Those are
that's
those are
round
the 3
4.
ones.
Did I have round 5 somewhere?
We had round 5. I have. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have the new ones soon. I don't think they're
We'll
here.
have the new one soon.
But Bob Maher.
Not so much. Is he
I
2-3?
don't know. I was not able to find it last time I looked on the standings. So.
He was 2-2 going into this round.
Oh, that's not great.
Both he and Williams were 2-2 and still paired. I mean, you don't get to play Vintage all that often, so.
No, it's tough out there. There's a lot of Magic formats. Someone was talking about it yesterday, how maybe it was Bob talking about how when you have to play every Magic format, then you run into the guy who only plays Legacy or only plays Vintage.
Sure.
It can be tough. Even if you're Reed Duke,
Sure.
you jump into these tournaments, you play against a guy who just plays Legacy all day. It's not easy. So
It does seem to be who's winning then, I guess.
I guess that's sort of what this is the big talk after the Modern Pro Tour last year,
Oh, yeah.
right? That, the Modern specialists really dominated. And
Maybe it turns out Sean McLaren's just really good. Patrick Dickman's just really good.
It is starting to look like Sean McLaren's quite good. Although it's still sort of playing within his subset of cards. Although he did top 8
He
a
only
limited.
knows 3 of the colors.
He did top 8 a limited Grand Prix also, right?
His constructed GP top 8 also blue, white, red. I don't know what he drafted. Was he just all Jeskai colors?
Was it, or
That'd
am
be
I wrong? Did he
hilarious.
not top 8 a limited Grand Prix?
I think he's got 2 GP top 8s.
All right. So
I mean, he definitely top 8'd Minneapolis with, it was blue, white, red, but he had the Kiki Jiki combo
Right,
shuffled
sure.
into it. I think he also top 8'd
I
limited.
thought he did too, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was thinking Minneapolis. Either way, seems like that guy's pretty good at Magic.
Right, not just a modern specialist.
Yeah.
A Magic Online specialist, if anything.
To be fair, I think Modern's a pretty tough format to play. There's a lot of haymakers in the sideboard and so forth, but I think most of the people who are so-called Modern specialists are probably pretty good at Magic.
Oh yeah, that's fair. The guys that are here are pretty good at Magic.
Yeah.
Even, the Eternal community, sometimes they feel a little sequestered, but a lot of them are specializing in eternal formats because they don't necessarily have the time to keep up with every format at the same time.
There was 2 years.
Doesn't mean they couldn't if they took the time.
There were 2 years where I basically only played Vintage because I was moving at the time. Like I was living half in Brooklyn, half in Pennsylvania.
Sure.
And I was like, I don't really have time to do anything. But these tournaments, I can go to 1 or 2 tournaments a month. I don't have to really play test or change my deck. And it was fun. So I think a lot of these guys are the same situation. They don't have that much time. Like Rich Shea certainly doesn't have that much time. You know, like
he has just recently scheduled his PhD thesis defense.
You know, I don't know.
I feel guilty for inviting him to the Vintage Super League a little bit. I hope his thesis doesn't suffer too much.
So I don't know. A lot of these guys I don't know, but there's certainly a lot of people who the reason they're specialists in that format is because they only really have time to do so many Magic tournaments and they like winning, so you might as well specialize. So
I hadn't thought of it quite that way, but yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's tough trying to prepare for every tournament.
True.
I know right now, like I'm kind of on a 1 tournament a month plan, and like when I look at the 2 where it's like 1 tournament's like at the end of 1 month, the next tournament's at the beginning of the other month because 2 Grand Prix work out. I'm like, man, I'm never gonna be able to play test that second Grand Prix because I'm gonna spend all my time in the first Grand Prix. Then if that week's busy, I'm done.
What's your schedule look like for the rest of the year?
I'm supposed to.
You going to New Jersey?
New Jersey and
to play
Baltimore.
Legacy?
So Grand Prix New Jersey and Grand Prix Baltimore is what my schedule.
That makes sense.
Is supposed to look like. I'm considering audibling because I feel kind of good in the cons limited format. So I was considering going to a bunch of PTQs instead of one of them, but that's.
Oh, you could do a double PTQ weekend instead of Grand Prix New Jersey.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't need to do my negotiations with my wife here on the air, but we'll see how it works out. There is a deal. There's a deal. It is a 1 weekend a month deal in place because.
So 2 PTQs versus a Grand Prix.
Well, the 2 PTQs aren't.
Oh, they're not on the same weekend?
It's getting a little messy.
Oh, I see.
Plus, there's a chance that if every once in a while, so if things break perfectly, I could go to Grand Prix and then squeeze in 1 PTQ. If it really breaks, it's got to break great. It's got to be like something was already happening where. Anyway, like I said, right now my plan is Legacy in New Jersey.
Sure.
And then Cons Limited at Grand Prix Baltimore. And the most frustrating part of that is that leads me not playing a match of Standard until January or something.
Oh, wow.
But what are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't think I cover a Standard tournament until, well, I guess Worlds. I'm in Nashville next weekend for the Team GP. I will be in Baltimore for the Cons Limited GP. Yeah, I guess mostly I'm at the end of this month where it's been 4 weekends in a row.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah, I went Pro Tour Hawaii to Grand Prix Los Angeles last weekend to here this weekend to Nashville next weekend.
Yeah, and you have Worlds a month later.
Yeah, Worlds is like a month
though.
later. It is. I just booked my travel. I fly out on a Saturday and fly home like a week from Monday later. Should be a fun one though.
That tournament's so sweet.
It is so sweet. They've actually, I know last year, I wasn't on the coverage team last year, but the guys seem to be kind of dragging at the end. There's actually a day off in the middle now.
Oh.
It's 2 days of, it's the Swiss rounds for the World Championship. So, the 24 best players playing individual. I think they play, I believe it's Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday is the off day. Wednesday is wall-to-wall drafting, never leave the hotel lobby, from what I think it is anyway. Then the World Team Cup kicks in, and that goes for 2 or 3 days, and then that Sunday is the finals. You bring back the world's top 4 to play their semis and final, and you play out the finals of the World Team Cup. Maybe it's Tuesday, Wednesday with the off day Thursday. I don't know.
It's a very weird event for a spectator.
A bit. I mean, I think that.
Not a lot of matches to be watched on a Tuesday normally. Vintage Super League notwithstanding, but
I hope we're done by then.
Yeah.
If we have enough people tied for the playoffs, it may get a little dicey. But,
we may have to cancel a whole lot of future events, given how many ties we could have. So.
Yeah, well, the time zones work out. Those are European days.
Right.
So yeah, it's the middle of the day in North America. I think you come home from work and watch the replay. I think that's how it works. Yeah. I think that's how it'll work out. Come home from work, watch the replay, watch the past broadcast. Either way.
Yeah, I mean
that Sunday shapes up to be awesome, though. I mean, I think that having the individual World Championships and having the World Magic Cup kind of connected, I don't know. It seems like a cool event.
Yeah, and then making the World Championship more players, I think was just a really
Going from 16 to 24.
really great decision.
Yeah. No, I like it. Where are you on the? I mean, with a historical perspective, it's super elite world championship of just those 24 players.
I like this much better.
I do too. I know there was a lot of angst at the time, losing. It felt like losing worlds. I mean, I guess at the time there wasn't a compensating Pro Tour, but at this point, with 4 Pro Tours in the schedule plus this World Championships on top of that, they're sort of the same, as many of the big tournaments as there have ever been for a Pro Magic
back
player
in
to
the
go
day,
play.
there were times where Worlds just felt like another Pro Tour. I mean,
Yeah,
we
exactly.
had an extra day though.
Yeah,
Like, the
it was
year when I top 8 Worlds, I think it was 18 rounds.
Right. So it was be 666 essentially.
Which that's a lot of.
That one might have been 777. There was one that was 777.
So that felt more significant. Whatever, more rounds,
It
less
was also,
variance.
though, it was kind of the easier Pro Tour, right? Because it just had everybody on every national team filling out the Swiss,
right
instead of PTQ players filling out the
right.
Swiss.
Although that really only felt true. I think I don't know how many times I played in Worlds. That only felt true the first couple of years. It did at the end. It was not.
All right.
Didn't feel as much like that. I don't think. At least I don't recall. I mean, it's been a long time.
Sure. But in any case, it mostly felt like another Pro Tour.
Right.
This one feels like the World Championships.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and a lot of those early Worlds produced players who never did anything else. I mean, you got to be decent at Magic to win a big tournament like that over a lot of rounds. But still, a lot of those guys never won anything else, or maybe they just quit playing Magic. But these seem to be designed to give us, the best players.
Worthy world champions.
Well, I don't know if worthy, but I don't know. I like this.
I do too.
And I haven't really talked to anyone who doesn't like this. There's always that initial reaction where people worry about the worst case scenario, but it seems great. I don't know if I have to think more. I haven't thought about, like I said earlier, I don't love the modern Vintage Masters draft. I'm not in love with that.
Okay.
It's weird because obviously, we watch the same formats a lot. There's a lot of Standard and a lot of Legacy played. They don't really want to use Legacy in these events, possibly. A lot of Modern gets played. So there's some staleness. I see the desire to use different formats. For some reason,
what would your other limited format be? I mean, I think I like the 4 rounds of constructed, 3 rounds of limited, 4 rounds of constructed, 3 rounds of limited. That feels like a good split. You don't want to just run cons back again.
Yeah, you don't want to do sealed deck. I don't know.
I don't know. They did cube draft one year.
Yeah, I didn't love that either, but
I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
What's wrong with cube draft?
I don't really love their cube. It's part of it.
That's fair. But new cube is coming.
Yeah, I don't know. Vintage rotisserie draft?
That is a long day. That
they
takes
have
a
nothing
while.
but time. You told me there's just a whole day of just hanging out in the lobby.
Yeah, that's so people can actually recover and be ready for another 4 days of Magic in a row.
By the way, you're not changing anyone's stereotypes of what Magic players are like by
hanging out in the lobby.
Declaring your day off in France is going to be hanging out in the lobby drafting. I don't think. Yeah, that didn't shake the
There's a
foundation.
day at the beginning, days at the end. Those are the days you go.
Well,
be a
I've been to
tourist.
France. I've seen France.
What I haven't seen is the inside of this Cons of Tarkir booster.
Right. I had not thought of that.
It could be anything.
Yeah, I don't know what the other format could be. Duplicate
You got
seal?
matches for us, Brian? What do we got?
I feel the reigning vintage champion
Joel Lim?
Lim on table 1.
Against?
Ryan Glackin.
Ryan Glackin, local player.
Okay.
Great matchup for the vintage fans.
We also have Roland Chang versus Christian Griffin. I know we've seen Roland already. Blaine Christensen versus John Grudzina.
Oh,
John.
funny.
Wow. Come back from the Legacy
From the
tournament.
Legacy.
Yeah. So let's do that.
Taking advantage of
Let's
his
do
buys.
Table 3. So we'll do tables 1 and 3.
All right.
We're never going to see Bob or Dave, are we?
No, we I certainly can't see that far over the horizon.
Right.
So
Maybe
They could be paired against each other.
Maybe
at
that-
3-2.
they asked if they were paired against each other that we not watch that miserable wet noodle fight that would ensue.
They're more the kind of guys you see in that full day in the lobby drafting. At this
Isn't that
point.
us?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Well, it turns out
Time in the round.
watch a lot of the same players. Somehow no one else is rising to the occasion.
Skill format. Guys who know the format. These things happen.
Yeah. Ryan Glackin plays a lot of vintage. Joel's opponent this round.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of vintage, yeah.
Tell me about him.
And he's played a lot of diverse decks. He's like one of the guys who plays a lot on the kind of like the local Long Island, Pennsylvania vintage scene. He's played a lot. And he's played
Does he have a particular pet deck?
No, he's played a very wide range of decks.
What do you think he's on?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I've seen him play. Like, I saw him play Jund in vintage before. Some Hate Bears decks.
Okay.
I think he's played Dredge in the past. I think he could have a lot of. I really don't know. It could be anything.
All right. Joel, of course, on a Merfolk deck, very similar to the one that he won with.
Right. And
is it even any different than the one he won with?
I don't know. The Merfolk deck is the kind of deck that does not want to run into like an unexpected.
True.
So if Glackin's playing one of his weirder things, that could be really bad. He probably is not, because you
bust those out at the the random local pickup tournament.
You don't normally bring those to Vintage Champs because nobody wants to be the guy who threw away Vintage Champs. It's not like Vintage Super League where for round 3 you just throw together some stuff and hope it works out.
Yeah, you'll figure you'll make the playoffs
this
anyway.
This is the once-a-year tourney.
0-3 back into the playoffs, no problem.
I mean, I was losing on purpose just to get some days off. Maybe the playoffs is really.
You don't think I'm going to make you do commentary?
I had not thought of that.
You have to lose this one to help get the 8-way tie, though.
Yeah, the 8-way tie. A lot of people are really
rooting against you.
Yeah, people love this 8-way tie idea.
The thing is, so even if it's not an 8-way tie, we can easily have a 7-way tie or a 6-way tie. It's not like the 8-way tie just evaporates.
Yeah,
with one match going
I'm not on the rules committee. Although David Williams seems extremely concerned with the tiebreak process.
Yeah, we've actually decided that at the end of Tuesday's show, we will, whatever tiebreaker scenarios we have, we will be randomly drawing people into a bracket live on the air.
Oh, wow.
At the end of Tuesday's show. So whatever the tiebreakers is, we will.
Do you have like a thing with balls in it where we wind it? And
I think my daughter's got like a bingo machine. I can.
There you go.
Maybe.
What's up, Brian?
I think we were just going to use random.org, but anyway, we'll stop talking about vintage. I'm out this round.
Oh, Randy's out.
Brian was going to sit in for the next round, so see you guys in an hour or so.
I wish Brian had deck lists, but apparently we're not there yet.
Quick announcements before we start the round.
You're not holding a bunch of deck lists, are you?
I am not.
Last round's deck list. I'm not even sure we're supposed to have these.
So what we're supposed to do is put those over there on the. Hand me my iPad, too. Put them on the out table. We have an inbox and an out box for the deck list.
This includes players that have already.
We apparently have pizza, which they informed us of just as we sat down to cover this round. That's really helpful.
Don't let anyone else eat that pizza.
I'm sure it will be delicious.
Don't let anybody eat my pizza.
For the unpowered prize. If you want to verify that your name is on this list,
They're announcing that there's I think it's a $400 prize for the player who finishes the highest without power in their
Without
deck.
power in their deck.
Which you feel is just an argument to play Dredge.
so once again,
Well, no, apparently Bizarre Baghdad counts as powered, so.
prize and want to verify.
It's not really power 9, it's like.
Sure.
Tracked. Please
All right,
check in with us
so
after this round.
let's put this one over there for now. This is the match we're not watching.
Yeah, we're not going to see this.
Please begin.
I got bad news for you.
Yeah.
It is another Rich Shea Delver deck. Exact same deck. Ryan Glackin did not bring anything spicy today. It is what we just talked about. Exactly Rich Shea's deck. Maybe up by a card. Maybe only 2 Pyros. 4 Treasure Cruise. 2 Gataxian Probe. 2 Gush. 4 Preordain. 4 Delvers. So 2 Snapcasters.
Speaking of same deck,
Playing against Joel Lim.
Master of the Pearl Trident.
Exactly. Play against Joel Lim's Merfolk. This has got to be a good matchup for Merfolk. Because I'll tell you what Ryan Glackin is going to be unlikely to do in this matchup.
Kill a creature?
Block. He can kill a creature. Blocking is hard against the Merfolk deck.
Sure. I got to tell you, of all the cards in Vintage you expect to see, the Waterfront Bouncer.
He's playing the Waterfront Bouncer. Oh, that's interesting.
Is not, you're ticking it off. We go back and forth. We name cards. We'll see, until we're just like mentally exhausted. Waterfront Bouncer does not end up, high on any of our recollections.
I know that card has gone in and out of his list. I didn't realize he was playing it this year, and I don't really know the exact purpose of the Waterfront Bouncer.
It's a Merfolk.
Well, I knew it was a Merfolk, of course.
It's a Colossus.
Nobody plays that thing anymore, but yeah.
Bounces in Emrakul.
Does bounce in Emrakul. That instant speed. I mean, the big thing in this matchup is the fact that, Ryan has 4 lightning bolts, 2 power blasts, a fire ice main deck, so he can actually kill creatures.
Oh, he can, yes.
So what he wants to do is either get a Delver flipped or get a Pyromancer out, and then Joel can get a lot of draws where he only draws 3 creatures. It's not hard for Ryan to kill 3 creatures.
Sure.
The 4 mental missteps that are likely in Joel's deck,
four mental missteps
are a big deal.
4 force of will, a spell pierce, a dismember, curse catcher, and then of course a little bit of power, and of course his trademark Null Rod.
Null Rod does not do a lot in this matchup. You just got the 2 Moxes and the Black Lotus.
All right, well, welcome as we're going into the back end of the first 2/3 of the Swiss rounds here at the Vintage Championship here on Eternal Weekend in Philadelphia. I'm Brian David Marshall. I am joined by Chris Bakula, the Meddling Mage, and we are watching reigning Vintage Champion Joel Lim at 5-0. Clearly no fish, playing fish, against Ryan Glackin, playing Blue Red Devil. You said Ryan Glackin is a local Philly.
Right. These guys know each other. They've played against each other a lot. They're very likely. Ryan certainly knows what Joel's playing. Joel probably knows what Ryan's playing.
Sure. Joel also from sort of the
New Jersey,
Philly.
Yeah,
sometimes sets up at the shows, sometimes plays in the shows.
There's basically a contiguous Long Island to Jersey, kind of to Eastern Pennsylvania vintage scene, and they're both heavily into that.
To play immediately in a Modern Masters Booster Draft.
Joel going to 6. How does Merfolk as a rule mulligan?
It doesn't seem like it mulligans that well. It really needs. It doesn't have a great long game in this matchup because it doesn't have treasure cruises. It needs to get. It wins the games where it just goes creature. Ryan Client Blackley's just dead. I mean, that's how Joel won last year. He played against a Delver deck, and just suddenly he had a bunch of 4/4 Merfolk in play. Whenever you play a deck where the cards build on each other, like 2 Lords is a lot better than 1 Lord. Like anytime that mulligans are going to hurt you more than a deck that is kind of like playing a bunch of value cards. That every card is kind of good on its own. I mean, Young Pyromancer, you can argue is in a way not good on its own. It requires other cards to really be good, but not in the way such that Curse Catcher is kind of a pretty mediocre vintage card without a Lord in play.
Right. And now talk a little bit more about Glackin's deck.
Right. So, and Glackin's playing, the Delver Treasure Cruise deck. 2 Gush. It's just a straight blue-red, splashing green only for the flashback on Ancient Grudge version. So.
And really only Mox Sapphire, Mox Ruby just shut off with.
And Black Lotus. So Null Rod's not a big deal in this, and
And knowing that the Null Rods are there, I mean, Glackin's if he knows what his opponent's playing, he's unlikely to keep maybe if there was a hand that was very artifact heavy, that would be perfectly keepable.
He's not going to keep a marginal hand that's just like Sapphire Ruby, no land, which you could in some matchups. So, but it's very easy if it's very easy for Ryan to get run over if Joel's just like 3 Lords and a mental misstep. It could just be game over.
So turn 1, is this a Curse Catcher?
Yeah. And there's only 3 Moxes between these 2 decks, so not surprising that we're just land.
Right. Joel does not qualify for the unpowered prize with Ancestral Recall and Time Walk.
Yeah. And Black Lotus.
Oh yes. And Sapphire. There you go. But then 10 islands. That looks so weird.
The 10 islands?
Just 10 islands. You rarely see the number 10.
Not a Scalding Tarn in sight?
In these decks.
So, what are we going to see? A Young Pyromancer?
That feels like what we've just seen every single...
Yeah. And one thing we haven't mentioned here is 4 True Name Nemesis, which can be pretty nasty in this matchup.
Yeah. Can't kill that creature.
No. I mean, you can pyro it. We have 2 main deck pyroblast, but when it's cast, you tap out. It's not.
Yeah.
Your pyros aren't going to help you.
Yeah, young pyromancer, young peasy.
Young peasy.
PTQ players. Pairings for round 7. And standings after round 6.
You look very uncomfortable saying young peasy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Standings
I don't know about that one.
after round 6.
Joel has just the 1 main deck dismember as creature kills, so.
Silvergill Adept revealing.
Please find your seats.
Silvergill Adept revealing Silvergill Adept, which is really the Merfolk Treasure Cruise.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just a dinghy, treasure dinghy.
Yeah. I mean, you board 1 person at a time.
Yeah. It's the shuttle that takes you out
Yes,
to the boat.
that is correct.
It's like I'm afraid our boat is too big to get into this dock. We're gonna have to ferry you out individually.
No.
Tap 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 tap.
So Ryan probably can't burn removal on a non-lord. Should also point out that Ryan, any Force of Wills he draws are basically useless now because of the Cavern of Souls.
Oh, interesting.
I lied, I guess. So I said he probably can't burn removal.
Mental misstep check.
I mean,
He's not. He doesn't care.
it depends on what his hand is. I mean, he's got another adept in his hand, so
Ponder.
I mean, you kill the adept if you think you have enough spells here where you're going to really go on the offense. But if the next spell out of Joel is True Name Nemesis, I guess that either way you're kind of in bad shape there. But then you really need all the 1/1s you can get. But then you might be sad that you don't have burn going straight to the face. I don't know. It always hurts to burn a lightning bolt on a cantrip creature.
Yeah. Does Joel? Joel does not have True Name Nemesis.
No, we're just gonna cast another adept. Is it Curse Catcher? Some. And this is, we say the no Treasure Cruise hurts the Merfolk deck, but this is pretty good.
Another Cavern of Souls into Curse Catcher.
Oh, he's gonna mental misstep the Curse Catcher, getting another 1/1. That is pretty sweet.
That seems pretty good.
PTQ players, I would like to take this moment to remind you that it is inappropriate to decide the results
Oh wow,
of your match
He misstepped and then misstepped in response.
yeah, just to get
other
tokens.
than playing
He's like,
games
Well,
of
once
with the sealed rules that you are given.
once Joel doesn't have a misstep,
Please do not
Ryan's missteps don't do
roll a
much.
die,
right.
So
play vintage, play legacy.
So he just turns them into little
Right.
sproutlings.
pay 2 life for a 1/1.
Yeah.
Determine the results of your
Man,
match.
I'd probably play
Please
that.
use the sealed pools that you were given this morning. That being said, you have 50 minutes. Welcome to round 7. You may begin.
I'm not sure what Joel's thinking about here.
How does Joel deal with a board
I mean, he just has to get a Lord out and
and just like
And make it so that the
you
1/1
can't attack in, and then he gets to just attack all in one swoop.
right.
I guess his opponent helped him there with the missteps.
But the problem is right now without a Lord in play, he can't even properly block
No.
1/1s.
Those are just free permanents for Glackin. You feel awful.
Well, he's just got to get a Lord, and that's what it comes down to. What this Merfolk deck really needs is 4 Mox Sapphires. If you could play 4 Mox Sapphires, the deck would be much stronger. Oh boy. So now this is the double Pyromancer is I think that makes it really hard. I mean, once he draws anything. If he draws, if its next card is Brainstorm, it's like the game's over.
Right. I could kill you with a Lotus Petal from here. That looks like a lord. No?
Needs a lord.
Can Glackin still attempt to counter a merfolk?
Yes, I think you can try and fail to get 2 1/1s.
Yeah.
You can pay a life and 2 cards for 2 1/1s. There's Lord of Atlantis. So this is a big deal. Obviously. And Lord of Atlantis has been a big deal since like what, 1995?
Yeah. Gush in response.
Wow. He's gushing in response, but yeah, he can't actually counter it. So the question
He
is,
might want to counter it.
Right.
He might just want to make the tokens.
Right. I'm trying to think. The only situation is could he get in a situation where he wants to force a will time walk? Yes.
Yeah.
Time walk is certainly a way he could lose this game.
Oh wow.
Ancestral, the dismember, but at this point, dismember is a lot of damage.
If you signed up for the Modern Masters,
I'm not sure what he's thinking about.
Please come up to the side events table. Once again,
he's
if you signed up for the Modern Masters booster
Just
draft,
ancestral recall.
please come up to the side events table.
Is Joel thinking about ancestral now?
This has always been one of the things I think about every time I play less than 4 young pyromancers in a deck. Is I think about, I don't really want to play 4 young pyromancers, except 2 is so crazy compared to 1. Like 2 really does let you win games that, I mean, it does just turn into a whole different dynamic. Where you can realistically just
Yeah. No. So this.
I mean,
Has Lord?
yeah, it's really just getting to the point where there's almost nothing.
It's almost there's just nothing. I mean, time walk into another lord is about all. But I can't even imagine him resolving a time walk at this point.
Nathan Davidoff, if you're in the room, please
Yeah,
come
I mean,
to
the
the
way-
side table. Your Modern Masters booster draft is started.
This is really rough. Yeah, the way we would do it is involve like get enough merfolk out so he doesn't die to 1 swing from 1/1s, and then like get another lord out, attack with everybody, time walk, untap, play another lord, attack with everybody again. That could work. But Glackin's got a lot of cards, but Ryan can only. He's only able to cast 1 red spell maximum next turn. We know that because he's just gushed. So, he can't kill more than 1 creature. He can't do more than 1 burn spell.
Here's another.
We've
Lord
got
of
2
Atlantis.
lords, so. So let's see. So we have 2 young pyromancers and 8 tokens. So he can actually attack. I mean, this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so Orion is dead on Joel's next turn, right?
I mean, unless we get like another gush.
But that doesn't. Oh, they're gush to get his islands off the table. Right, so that's something Ryan actually could have thought about. That I don't know if he did. Is not playing. He only has 2 gush in his deck, so he probably did not plan it that way. But gushing down to 0 islands would be huge here.
Yeah.
Huge. Would make it really hard to lose. Now with access only to 1 volcanic, we know he can't cast 2 lightning bolts. Can't cast 2 pyroblasts.
All right. Well, he's
Is he
attacking.
really not attacking with the young pyromancers? I guess he could have time walk.
Yeah, it certainly looks like. But if he had time walk, then he would attack with the Pyromancers, wouldn't he? Or I guess,
why suicide them? Oh, he has it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. Force of will. Yeah. But
Force of
obviously, a force of will.
Wow.
Coming.
So this is it, right? Because that's 4 more.
Yeah, it's 4 more tokens.
This is kind of time walk the way it was intended, right?
Yeah.
Get a bunch of guys in play and time walk to win the race.
So did he not? He didn't block any. He did block 2 of those tokens, right? Yeah.
But there's going to be 10
So,
now?
yeah, he takes 6, but now there's 10.
But that's not but he's not actually at 14. He's at 8, right?
Right, he's at 8. And the 2 Pyromancers can attack.
Right. So he curse catchered it. He curse catchered the time walk.
Oh, of course he did.
Ha. I guess we should have seen that onboard trick.
Yeah. Perhaps maybe Brian Glackin.
To be fair, first of all, Ryan should have noticed it before me. I'm just gonna say that. Second of all, it was exciting. It was exciting to cast time walk there. So.
And
wow.
By the way, that's lethal sitting on the board.
Yeah, I mean that's like a real
unless
he has the gush.
We have the gush,
which would also be really sick. The gush here would be incredible.
This is for.
And there's no way to stop the gush.
Phantasmal image copying.
It's probably gonna copy the Silver Guild to get. No, probably just the Lord.
Copy the Lord, right?
Well, I was trying to think if there's maybe he wants to draw a counter for something, but I kind of think that only gush matters.
Forces it. Goes to 6. I mean, he is dead on board, right?
That's. We misunderstanding how Lord of Atlantis works?
Lord of Atlantis gives each other Lord of Atlantis island walk, right? There's 2 islands. I mean, unless he's worried about the gush. I mean, maybe he's like, well, if he has gush, I am just kicked in the pants.
He's just dead to gush.
He can't survive an attack. Okay. All right, that dies. Joel's thinking, yeah, he's like, okay, I attack.
Yep.
He picked up the islands. I thought that was going to be the guy. He picked up the islands first. I was like, oh my god.
The very rare play where both the game-winning play and the concession involve the identical physical motion.
He's scooping up his cards, but he could be winning or losing.
And that is a great indicator of why these blue-based creature decks have trouble with Merfolk.
Yeah.
Because an amazing draw, he had all these home ones, and the double Lord just made it too much.
And of course, the onboard trick.
The onboard trick, but there's no way you could play around the onboard trick, right? There's nothing he could have done. I mean, he only had that time walk because he drew Ancestral off the gush.
Right.
Now, I don't know if he had untapped instead of gushing, would he have drawn that time walk naturally? Because that's really what did him. The gushing down to 1 land is what prevented it. But he may not have had those cards. We don't know what order he drew them.
Yeah.
If the top card was Ancestral and the next card was Time Walk, he never had to gush. But there's no way to know that.
That was insane. So I assume Joel Lim starts game 2 with 2 open slots in his deck as the Null Rods.
He's going to take out 2 Null Rods.
Right the hell out of there.
He's going to take out 2 Null Rods. He's going to take out Spell Pierce. And he's probably going to take out Waterfront Bouncer.
Yeah.
And those are going to become 2 Omens of his Jitty and 2 Dismember.
And suddenly we can deal with creatures.
I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. I guess there's some world where Bouncer is good against Delver of Secrets, but
yeah.
Maybe he would rather shave something else. It's hard for him to cut Curse Catcher because it's his only 1-drop. So even if and it counters Time Walk as we see.
Yeah.
For Ryan, he has not really anything. He has 4 Ravenous Trap, no. 4 Ingature, no. 3 Grafdigger's Cage, no. 2 Ancient Grudge, no. 1 Mountain, maybe. 1 is Ecstatic Caster. I could see him... Dak Faden, not very good in this matchup.
No.
I would rather have...
A Static Caster?
I would definitely rather have a Mountain against the Wasteland deck than Dak Faden. Is Ecstatic Caster? I mean, it kills Curse Catchers.
Kills Silvergill
Kills
Adepts.
Silvergill Adepts. If there's no Lord in play.
Kills the hell out of Waterfront Bouncer.
Kills Waterfront Bouncer. I just don't think it's good enough.
No,
But Dak Faden is not great here either.
Is there anything else he wants out here? I mean, he's already got his 2 main deck Pyroblasts. I mean, he's got 2 Dak Fadens he could take out. That's all.
Yeah, that's the only card we're taking out.
Yeah.
And this is one of the strengths of these Delver lists, is that their cards are generically good.
Yeah.
I mean, Pyroblast and Mental Misstep are kind of blanks against, workshop decks, but...
Doing some slapstick comedy over here.
But
off camera.
The Dak Fadens, especially given that we've had some concern that we don't really understand why Dak Faden's in the deck in the first place. It complicates the issue of what's going on the back table, Randy.
Blaine Christensen has a Mishra's Workshop deck, which is actually worthy of the name Stacks.
Oh, it's
There is a
awesome.
Smokestack in play. There is Tabernacle of the Pendrel Veil in play. There's a Lodestone Golem in play. None of this is good news for John Gradzina and his Delver deck. I mean, he's fighting, but it's hard to imagine how he stitches the game back together from there.
Yeah, John Gradzina on a Deathrite Shaman Delver deck, which we haven't really seen.
Yeah, he's been using it effectively to get mana, but now it's about to die to Tabernacle.
Oh, so they're already on game.
They're in game 2. Yeah, they're in game 2, and Blaine Christensen, the Stacks player, won the first game as well. So that's for the match. So these guys are also 5-0.
Right.
You know, the loser's still in decent shape coming down the stretch.
So, all right. So
You missed the onboard trick. The Curse Catcher getting the time
I was
walk.
watching that over his shoulder. Did he just not see the Curse
I
Catcher?
think he had no choice.
I think he had no choice.
Yeah, he has to just hope, like
And
Chris and I, he misses that he has the Curse Catcher in play.
Right, and I think that any even if you know about the Curse Catcher, you still force of will back. Right? I mean, that's the thing. Joel Lim force of willed the Time Walk, right? And then he forced back, and then he Curse Catchered it.
Right.
Because it was Curse Catchered it first.
I think he wanted to keep his Curse Catcher.
Right, I think so too. But just to have the extra body, but I mean...
Yeah, I mean, the whole game was gush or no, is basically what that game was.
Right, and the only other thing that really could have changed it was, could Ryan have avoided gushing on Joel's turn to go down to 1 mana? But he drew Ancestral off it, so it's... Like I said, I don't know what the top card of his deck was. If he had untapped with all those land in play, could he have done something differently? So not a lot of sideboarding in this match, so we're basically nearly running back game 1. Obviously, the 2 Dismember and the 2 Jitties could be power. The other thing that Ryan could do here is, if you know your opponent is sideboarding in equipment, which you don't know.
Right. Bring an Ingot Chewer or Ancient Grudge.
Ancient Grudge, or steal the equipment with Dak Faden.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know.
Just run it right back. Don't change anything.
Right. So Ryan's going to be on the play.
Delver of Secrets.
For these decks, like I said, they don't have a lot of fast mana. The land do something great is really their good draw. And Ryan's just like, don't have the Sapphire, don't have the Sapphire, don't have the Sapphire, because the difference is shocking. Alright, well, I said, don't have the Sapphire, don't have the Sapphire, don't have the Sapphire, but he has Black Lotus. Double Lord with Mental Misstep backup is like almost unbeatable. So
I'd still rather have the Sapphire than the Lotus.
oh yeah, I agree. The Sapphire is better than Lotus. Black Lotus ain't what it used to be. It's still pretty good though.
Yeah.
And you put Yawgmoth's on your deck, and it is what it used to be. But
It's twice what it used to be. All right. Lotus is in his graveyard. He's made green mana. Oh, there's
Lord
a
number one.
Lord.
Nope, yep, Force of Will. Force of Will losing Treasure Cruise.
Now Joel's thinking.
Joel has agreed that Force of Will has countered that. And here's another better Lord. Pretty sweet. Lightning Bolt flips Delver. Exactly what you're hoping for.
Whew. So which Lord is that? That's Master of the Pearl Trident. Yeah. All right, fly over for 3. Now the mental misstep games begin.
Enter green. If you're in the room, can you please
Mental
come to the
misstep.
silence table? Your opponent is looking for you.
Extremely important
Enter
here.
green. If you are in the room, please come to the silence table. Your opponent is looking for you.
You really want to screw up Magic? Make a Phyrexian Mana Stifle.
Yeah, Phyrexian Mana Stifle. I've talked about that before, actually. It does mess up Magic pretty bad.
Magic is ruined forever.
But you make it cost like a lot of Phyrexian Mana, so people really have to make a big decision. Wow, do I pay 10 to stifle this thing? like it's black, white, green, blue, black, or whatever. All 5 colors, but all Phyrexian. They're not going to print that.
No. Hopefully Aaron Forsythe, who's watching, doesn't view this as a challenge.
Maybe there's some champion of the Phyrexian Mana mechanic at WotC who's like, we should do this again, but I've not heard this person speak.
What if you untapped your mana when you paid for Phyrexian Mana? All right, Bolt, your master.
I don't know if it's just the way Joel plays or something about the fact that these guys know each other pretty well, but Joel seems to think a lot about things when it doesn't seem like. Maybe he's just purposely one of these players who just always thinks the same period of time for everything to not give off any tells.
I think that's it.
All right, you know, Force of Will obviously is done. If he had mental misstep, that'd be like, how did we not know that was mental?
Right. Force of Will, pitching Silver Gillap. I mean, so now we've spent our turn 1 and gone down to like a couple cards in hand.
He does not have another blue mana, by the way, because otherwise he probably would have cast the Silver Gillap on turn 1, and that is yeah.
Now we have a Curse Catcher. Okay, go. Insectile Aberration flies over. No, it says go. Attack for 4. Snapcaster Mage.
That doesn't. That's just EOT Snapcaster Mage. It doesn't block anything, right?
It blocks the Lord.
Oh, it blocks the Lord, right?
Right.
The Lord doesn't give.
Yeah.
Right.
Dismember. Not sure if Richega would actually say that, but which member?
Wow. I'm flustered now. All right, so paying 4 life, by the way, when you're getting beaten in the face by a Delver, is always rough.
Ryan goes to 11, sacking a fetch land.
Will we ever see Gut Shot in Vintage?
I've been wondering that today, actually. There have been a few moments where it has seemed like it would be spectacular.
Yeah. Pretty low power.
Yeah. Tap out for your Pyromancer. Gut Shot their Pyromancer.
So it doesn't take a lot more hits here. It's basically 3 turns
On either side of the...
3 turns on either side, but Ryan's about to attack and has Lightning Bolt in his deck. So
Ooh, that hardly seems fair.
And that is one of the advantages of playing red, is you get to play Lightning Bolt, which is a pretty nice feeling. It's a versatile Magic card.
All right. Joel goes to 6.
There's at least one deck fading still in the deck. It's gonna dig for Lightning Bolts, I'm assuming.
Double loot. There's a Lord of Atlantis. That's an attack for 6. Ryan's down to 5.
Yeah, I mean, that changed the clock by a turn.
Double loots again.
The exact life total where he can still
Discards a pair
mental
of young
misstep and not die.
pyromancers.
It's just so hard to outrace Merfolk. The creatures just get real big and you just can't block.
Is this Time Walk? Or float 2 mana and gush?
Time Walk. He only has one card in his hand, right? So Time Walk's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there we go.
Stacks the Curse Catcher attacks. Yep.
2 Delver hits. Time Walk is nuts in this matchup, huh?
Both sides.
Wow. Yeah, it's just really hard to. I mean, turn 1 Delver, kill your first guy. They don't play second land for a while, and still, you almost got outraced.
It's funny, I was talking to Joel about his deck selection process for this, and he was not going to play this deck.
Oh, I know. He was like despondent.
He was
Nothing
like,
works.
Yeah, Treasure Cruise ruins everything. What do I do? Tried everything, and I was finally just convinced. Like, look, you know how to play. If you're not going to be happy with whatever deck you're playing, play the deck you know how to play.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure he's played
more games with Waterfront Bouncer in Vintage than anybody else in the history of mankind.
Yes. Yes, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's hard to switch. When you're unhappy with everything,
Yeah.
it's hard to switch the deck that you play constantly. Oh, and by the way, you won the tournament with last year, right? Like,
yeah, you feel, I think, a fair amount of pressure on him to sort of, maybe not defend the title, but to, like,
it's really.
he took. There were people were a little critical of Merfolk in general. They were like, "That's not a real deck."
Yeah, I think people tuned in last year expecting mana drain this and Blightsteel Colossus that and
Right.
Jace the Mind Sculptor and
he's like, "Null Rod your Moxes."
right. And the finals was like, my
Attack-
Tarmogoyf can't block your guy. You have
Right. Tarmogoyf cannot block your 4/4 Waterfront Bouncer.
Right. It's also hard to like. You put all this time and effort into this Merfolk deck. You win the tournament last year. You show up with a different deck this year and go 1-2 drop. You're just like, why did I do that?
Right.
So there's definitely a little some psychology.
I just saw a neutral ground shirt walk by.
Really?
Yeah.
Neutral ground was a great place to play Magic.
Oh, I would like to use a Guardians of the Galaxy quote there. They were a bunch of a-holes.
My first apartment in Manhattan was half a block away from neutral ground.
Well played.
It was very well played.
Spoilers, it was me. I wasn't actually, I don't believe, generally, an a-hole.
No. Not generally.
Not generally. Only when I lose.
So being on the play here, pretty big. If he's on the play and has a sapphire, I know I've been really talking about this point a lot, but man,
You really want to see? You really want to see
it's just ridiculous.
Lucky Sapphire.
The difference a sapphire makes is just it seems more important than in any other deck to somehow like.
Well, think about it, if that had been a Sapphire instead of a Lotus.
Well, I don't know because he would have had no creature in play on turn 1.
Right, but he would have had 2 lands, 2 mana in play.
Right, he also might have played a different creature turn 1. Yeah. All right.
Okay, Blake wins his match.
Yeah.
2 on the back table. What was that matchup again?
Blaine Christensen playing a Stacks deck, defeated
nice.
John Grazina's Delver deck.
I will chalk that up as a victory for great justice.
I honestly, I would not be surprised that when this all shakes out, we see a lot of Treasure Cruises and not a lot of Delvers of Secrets. I just don't know if it's quite good enough in Vintage.
The reason you need the card Delver of Secrets is for the Workshops match, right?
Yeah.
It's your best card against Workshops because you can play it on turn 1. If it wasn't for the Workshops matchup, you wouldn't play the Delver at all. You'd just go with Pyromancer.
It is now starting. Please come to the side events table.
Well, Cavern Curse Catcher, basically the best non-Sapphire draw. Ooh, Sapphire
what a
on the
show
other
off!
side.
What a show off!
It's spicy.
That Ponder, yeah.
These cantrips can definitely feel a little slow in this matchup. Like you want to get your guys out there.
But I mean, nice. I mean, look at that though. On turn 1, you get to Ponder,
And
then keep 1 card, and then shuffle.
Yep. Does he have the Delver? Nope.
No, he says go.
Oh, he's not going to burn a removal spell on Curse Catcher. So really, it's very, especially against a deck with Wastelands. It's a huge favorite to just say go there unless he has a Delver.
There is a Wasteland.
So no double blue for Joel.
Not only no Sapphire.
He really better have Adept in his hand here.
I think he does.
He does, yeah.
And shows Master of the Pearl Trident. So, turns out Ryan wanted 2 of those cards off the Ponder.
Well, he also has, what's his basic land? He has 2 islands in his deck, so he could, but he really needs red mana right now. He has a Sapphire.
He just played a Volcanic Island, obviously. Here comes Young Pyromancer.
So the interesting here is he's still not willing to commit, probably doesn't want to commit removal to a non-lord.
Right.
He can't really burn a removal spell here because Curse Catcher can counter it. Although maybe that's not a big deal.
Joel does have the island.
Yep.
So we know he's holding Master of the Pearl Trident. Plays it. Uncounterable. I don't know why you're offering it up, but I guess it's still on the stack.
To trick your opponents into trying to counter it. Right. That's why you do that.
Yeah. Okay.
I say trick, but totally legitimate.
Yeah.
Sean O'Brien to the Vintage Scorekeeper at the main stage, please.
And then attacks for
Sean
5.
O'Brien to the Vintage Scorekeeper at the main stage.
Do you upkeep Wasteland the Volcanic?
Yeah, I could see getting rid of the volcanic. Oh, there. Now he's getting it. I'm not sure why he did it like that.
Oh, because if he does something in response, he's still got the sapphire. He can't.
Yeah, he can't curse catch.
Curse catch it.
But he doesn't have to do anything in response. This is like main phase, right?
Yeah. Oh, it might not be main phase. It could be. Are we in main phase? Is he?
Yeah, because he stripped in response to fetch.
Right, but he could be fetching on upkeep rather than draw
he could
his third card for whatever from the ponder.
Right.
We'll see in a second. If I didn't even think to see if he had drawn already.
I still don't quite see the point of wasting on Ryan's turn. Gush, that's why.
Yeah.
He did it because of Gush. Okay. Although, this is one of those board states where if your opponent gushes you, that's sad. I mean... Right. So that's...
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough.
That's why. He just did it so he couldn't gush.
Okay.
To gush to save his land from...
Oh, right. Wasting. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. There you go. Okay.
Oh, so he has a red floating, I'm sure. He preordains. He's trying to get a removal spell for the master.
Lean over like somehow that helps me see what's in his hand better. Could you lean over? Yeah.
So he has a mana floating, so the curse catcher, on that board looks like it would counter something, but I'm pretty sure he has floating mana and has not played a land. So
okay.
And we know he floated red because he tapped the sapphire for the preordain.
Right. True name Nemesis?
Doesn't have him.
Oh, he doesn't. Oh, right. The true name Nemesis is a Joel's.
I'm not sure what he's doing here. Second Pyromancer. Still,
we believe a red floating, right?
Right, but now he can't pay for Curse Catcher.
Oh, yeah.
Now Gush is really good. Gush gives him 2 chump blockers.
Probably gets countered. By Curse Catcher.
No, I don't know. I don't know if a 2/2 Curse Catcher in play is actually worth.
Can you afford to commit? You can't attack with your master here, can you? Well, your master doesn't have Island Walk.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You're not going to attack with it.
So, are we going to see a Gush double block? Yep.
Yes, we are. I love it.
So now he has to decide if he wants the Curse Catcher. He is, just to... I guess he decides Curse Catcher is worth 2 cards there, but this is going to be rough to come back from. Because now he's going to double block there. Look. Wow. I think it's a 2/1, right? A 3/2?
3/2.
So triple blocking does lose an additional 1/1? I guess he...
And there's True Name Nemesis.
I'm not sure why he triple blocked there. Isn't it the Silgalad up to a 2/1?
Isn't it's a 3/2.
Right. So there's no reason to triple block. I'm not sure why he triple blocked.
I mean, gut shot?
If he dismembers your 1/1.
Oh yeah, the dismember.
If you dismember your 1/1, is it that big of a deal? I mean, you do have to replay an island this turn. Oh, so now is he trying to force a will True Name, forgetting about Cavern? Oh, he's force a willing just to get a card out of his hand because Dak Faden's worthless. So he's force a willing just to get the 2/1s.
Right.
But this is hard. He's just so far behind in the race. Even if he kills the Lord,
Right. If he doesn't kill the Lord, he starts
Well,
taking
to be
4
fair,
turns from True Name.
he plays a red mana, kills the Lord, gets 2 more 1/1s.
Right.
He'll eventually have enough 1/1s to outrace the True Name with no Lords in play. Lords make it tough, but he just drew 2 cards off Gush, although he threw 2 cards in the dumpster. Oh, the Gush was countered.
Gush was countered.
It does feel like
Hey,
he threw a 1/1 in the garbage,
True Name
though.
Nemesis has Island Walk now.
Yeah.
But always had it.
So,
Brainstorm, make 2 tokens.
I'm not sure why he played an island to do this, because now he has no red mana again. It's kind of a strange play.
Right, he could have tapped the Sapphire and seen what he wants. See if he wants to play a red land.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he did it this way. Once again,
He's got 8 points of power on the board.
yeah, once again, the 2 Pyromancer is a lot more impressive than 1.
Yeah.
It really lets you. It lets you navigate out of situations that 1 would not even be close to getting you out of. But
Morph?
I'm still not 100% sure why he played a basic island and didn't tap a Sapphire. He's gonna put these 2 back for the Brainstorm. Of course, you're only allowed to play 1 Brainstorm in Vintage.
Are we gonna Treasure Cruise?
Treasure Cruise.
Yep.
I guess he only has 1 red. He
Yeah.
just doesn't want to expose it. That's the only.
Sure.
That's got to be.
That makes
That
sense.
still doesn't really tell me why you don't tap Sapphire first. I guess he doesn't know whether or not Joel has Days in his deck, because Joel, I believe, did play 2 Days last year, or at some points has played Days.
Sure. Now has just the Mental Missteps and the 1 Spell Pierce to go with Force of Wills. And of course, the sneaky Curse Catchers.
Yeah. I don't really feel like it's time to start throwing away 1/1s for damage.
He's played a land. Not like you just wouldn't block.
No, Ruby would have been a good draw here most likely, but
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, he just says go.
Joel's even slow at accepting the turn back
I
to
was
him.
just gonna say,
Do I want to take a turn? Let me think about that.
did I turn off my stove?
Yeah, maybe that is what he's thinking. Maybe he's really concerned about various kitchen appliances still running.
Did I turn the lock 17 times to the left and 3 times to the right before I left the house? It's another True Name Nemesis. Alright, gets in for 4.
This probably means another True Name on D, I guess? And then that's going to be game, right? Next turn he'll be attacked for 8.
Yes, that is another True Name Nemesis. And wow, what?
So this is big. So Ryan only having 1, he has no sources of red in play.
Right.
So that means that even if he has a removal spell for the master that's in play, a master next turn would kill him still. So but there is a strip mine, so
So do you just take out the island here? You worried about anything? No.
I mean, Island Walk doesn't matter because your creatures are True Name I I would say no, because you don't want to.
I don't even think you're dead to time walk here.
Well, that's why you don't strip mine, because if he time walks, you want to be able to take away red for the second turn. I think that's one reason to not. And is that exactly what happened?
That's time walk.
All right. So, although I'm not sure. I mean, unless he draws Ruby or Lotus, he can't really have red both turns anyway. Wow. Because he would have to tap it. So he's got 6 guys who can attack this turn?
Yes.
He attacks for 6. Oh, he only has 4.
6 guys counting pyromancers.
Right.
Oh no,
he
it
has
is 6 guys.
6 on ones, right?
There are 2 guys hiding in the wings.
Well, let's see if he has a burn spell for this master. He attacks for 6, 2 die, gets into 16. Then attack back next turn does not even come close to doing it. But he kills the master here, which he does.
Pyroblast.
Joel has to strip mine the volcanic now. So now he attacks with, now I think he can attack with everybody. He attacks with everybody. He'll get through 8 points of damage, and then next turn. Right, next turn he would win with a lightning bolt if he plays that way.
Right, he can get 18 across over 2 turns.
But he can't. But it's not clear he can count on having red mana next turn.
Right.
But it's hard.
He does decide he has to send the pyromancer.
Right, and there's just no reason not to.
So
it's hard to.
You need a pyromancer.
What he really needs is Gush, because if he has Gush, that would let him both get extra tokens for next turn,
right,
and have red mana next turn. Where right now, I think before his turn's over, he didn't. I don't understand not stripping the volcanic.
Does Joel think maybe he needs the mana? Maybe he needs to Silvergill to fight a lord?
I don't know.
Okay. Preordain.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I mean, only red spells really matter right now. Maybe I'm missing something. But it seems to me that you don't want to give him red mana on this second turn.
Okay, so it's block Pyromancer.
So that's 10. Gets him to 2.
Plays a Delver.
So he's just dead to a Lord?
This is Lord or no.
And it looks like he has it, because that's the first time he's done anything quickly on that. Nope, maybe he just knows exactly what has to happen. Oh, nope, he didn't have it. That's why he flicked the top card.
Wait, look. Is this
Silvergill showing Waterfront Bouncer? Is that what that is? Silvergill showing Waterfront Bouncer. So if the top card of his deck is a Lord, that does it.
That's why he didn't Wasteland.
You're right, that's why he didn't Wasteland. Oh! He didn't use the... He couldn't use the Cavern.
Right.
I don't know what that is.
Did he just pass the torch?
Wow. That was a lot of... That was Time Walk. Time Walk's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it turns out, you only get to play with one.
I'm still trying to...
In a single format.
That's really...
For a reason.
Not Wastelanding there is really risky.
Yeah, I mean, Wastelanding there would have been... He would have lost an out.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe the math worked out.
He knew he didn't have a Lord. He knew he needed to be able to adapt into Lord.
Right, but well, he has a draw phase, right?
Yeah.
He lost one out, but if he had died to lightning bolt
Yeah,
and
yeah,
had a
of
Lord
course,
on
of
top of his deck, then he gave away an out.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know.
Wow. So Ryan Glackin goes to 6-0.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. How many players are left at 6-0 now at this point?
Oh, yeah.
Randy, do you have a sense of the standings?
Down to it.
It's a lot of that's a lot of racing. That was some classic racing.
Yeah, I was watching the X1s. There were some interesting matches there. Ari Lax picked up his second loss.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty close, tough match to AJ Grasso. And Harry Corvesi, who I didn't realize has a pretty sweet-looking Oath deck.
Oh,
And he got the win.
Bob's listening now.
Bob is 4-2. Still hanging out, winning games down.
Have we done
A
the
lot
math
better
on
than
whether or not a
0-2.
4-2 can sneak in? What 4-2 with Hall of Fame tie breaks?
If only that counted for something.
What happened in the other match?
It's been long over, right?
Yeah, it was long over. Oh, yeah, that was right.
Against
That was
Delvin.
right.
So, is there anything spicy at the top besides what's Harry's record?
Harry's X1.
X1.
How do you feel about Doomsday?
Doomsday is spicy.
Doomsday is X1.
Although Brady didn't tell me he can't possibly finish a match within the time limits of a physical Magic tournament.
That's Steve Menendian, though.
Oh, this other guy can?
This is not Menendian.
Oh, okay, we're safe.
This is Bob's first loss.
This being the guy who beat me round 1.
Oh, right.
Just took his first loss this round.
Oh, wow.
Doomsday's sweet.
We get a chance to maybe
Although-
see that deck on camera?
Be nice.
Doomsday is a great example
Not the
of
most
deck.
spectator-friendly deck.
No.
Sure.
They go
So
deep.
why don't you tell people how the deck works?
Oh well, I mean the
They
basic.
go deep in the tank and do nothing for 10 minutes, and then explain to you how they kill you.
Right. The
That's
Doomsday.
how the deck works.
The Doomsday deck is
It's a theoretical-
It basically sets up. I think he's placed the bottom 5 of your card.
So the card is remove your graveyard and library from the game, pick 5 cards. That's your new library, and you pay half your life for the privilege.
And most of the Doomsday wins involve Laboratory Maniac and then Ancestrally myself for the win, right?
Yeah. If you have any way to draw, if you have a Brainstorm or a Ponder or an Ancestral, you can essentially draw whatever you stacked on the top of your deck. You put maybe it's a Black Lotus Yawgmoth's Will Loop, maybe it's just an Ancestral, but maybe it's a Gush to get started, whatever. The point is, you draw a couple cards to draw the rest of them, play a Laboratory Maniac with an empty library. Ball game.
It's a pretty cool deck.
Yeah.
Like Randy says, possibly not spectator friendly. And the people who play it claim that
They claim it's spectator friendly?
they claim it's not spectator friendly.
Okay.
So,
What's that?
did you want to tag in here? Are you
Yeah,
in this round?
people want to see Doomsday on camera.
You'll have to quiz Bob on what the guy's name was.
I will totally.
It's whoever just lost on table 2.
Yeah, so we would like to get that guy on camera.
Yeah, you'll find it.
Okay, well, yeah, let's do that. Randy Bueller, welcome to the booth again.
Hello again.
Hey. We are 2/3 of the way through the Swiss rounds, which is halfway through the rounds here in the Vintage Championship.
Been a great weekend.
Yeah, super exciting.
I'm fine. Let's just keep playing Magic. I'll keep calling them as long as you keep putting the matches in front of me.
All right. I think we have to be out of here before midnight.
Yeah, it's going to be a little tight. 3 rounds of Swiss, top 8. It's about when we'll be finished.
Sure. Philadelphia gets pretty
Union shop.
strict about. You said you're going to be here till midnight. The
paid
doors
for
are
the room
closed.
through
Doors are
midnight.
closing at midnight.
PTQ players, that is time of the round.
We may be streaming from McDonald's.
Got it. I've certainly played out the finals of a PTQ and drive to the fast food restaurant, drive to the Denny's. The TO opens his shop up, you drive across town.
Oh yeah.
Standing on top of tables.
I remember the Stronghold pre-release. We were at the New Yorker Hotel. We had so many people showed up for the Stronghold pre-release that we had 200 people of overflow, and we just couldn't get in there. And we marched them in a caravan from the New Yorker to neutral ground.
Wow.
To have a overflow pre-release there.
Crazy. That's cool.
Yeah, that was fun. So what's your favorite deck you've seen so far?
I've certainly enjoyed watching over Arilax's shoulder. I mean, the Angel City Vault deck has lots of interesting lines. Like when he lost this game, he actually he managed to resolve a Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
He's playing against a Delver deck, so the Delver deck is just steadily building up young Pyromancer tokens and threatening to counter things. He manages to resolve a Wheel of Fortune, and he gets this hand where he has a Transmute artifact, he has a Time Twister, he has a Force of Will. He goes for the Twister, but when the Delver deck has a Pyroblast, he decides not to force pitching Transmute artifact because next turn he can untap. He's got a billion mana at this point because he's also wheeled into like Mox, Sol Ring. He's got an Academy. So he decides he's better off untapping next turn and then doing Transmute artifact into Memory Jar with the ability to hardcast that Force of Will.
Okay.
I don't know if that's right or not. I mean, he could have pitched Force of Will there, but so he waits. But now, of course, this also means the Delver deck has his mana untapped.
You want Doomsday?
Yeah, we want Doomsday. Absolutely. Who's he playing? Playing Dario Moreno? Sure.
What's that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Corvasi's the other guy. Oh, Corvasi's playing Joel Lim. I guess it would be Joel's, like, 17th feature match in a row. Yeah, let's watch Doomsday.
Or what do you want as your backup match?
Whatever.
I had a chance to watch.
Anyway, so I finished my story.
Oh, yeah.
He transmutes, and transmute, Delver does have the counter spell, so he's got to hardcast the Force of Will, and Delver then has a Flusterstorm to follow up with. Ari can pay, but now he's all tapped out again. So now he's got a Memory Jar resolved, but he's got no mana for when he cracks it.
Right.
Because he basically paid 10 mana for hardcast Force of Will plus pay for 5 copies of Flusterstorm.
Right.
AJ Grasso.
Versus Landstill as your backup.
Oh, versus Landstill, sure.
So they'll still be
Landstill
going.
makes for a great backup match. He
Yeah.
sounds exactly right. Yeah, AJ's the Delver player that just beat Ari.
Okay.
So Ari ships the turn, seems correct. Hey, wait, he'll crack the jar next turn. Takes 5 down to like 7, but AJ has the Smash to Smithereens for the Memory Jar.
Oh, wow.
So crunch, and it's like 2 turns ago, should he have just tried to defend the Twister versus this elaborate like Memory Jar fight out of their 2 Wheel of Fortune hands. I don't know. That deck is interesting to watch because it's got all the broken degenerate vintage stuff, but draw 7s are inherently card disadvantage. Like,
Right.
I do a big thing, and what it does is means that we both get 7 new cards. Like, you're not actually getting ahead there unless you can then leverage that
Unless
into
you're time
something.
spiraling.
Well, time spiral you can get ahead on mana.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really Mind's Desire is the broken card, and all the other draw 7s are
Sure.
essentially you're figuring like along the way you can either accumulate Vault Key or find a Mind's Desire.
Or if you have one half, you find the other half. I was following along the red player who's powerless.
Oh yeah?
He's playing powerless red, but he's playing with his power in clear
As tokens?
in clear sleeves as goblin tokens.
Excellent.
And unfortunately, when I watched the match, his opponent kept Force of Willing his Goblin Rabble Master. So I didn't get to see the tokens made. By the way, his all foil, all beta power, all black bordered dual lands, wearing a Yankee cap and a muscle T-shirt opponent. This is like no.
You say that like you're a Mets fan, Brian.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, like a black on black Yankees hat too. You know, come on. Come on. Yeah, so I thought I was going to get to see a Lotus swing, but it didn't happen.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Rabble Master's not soft to Force of Will, that's what you're telling me? Not something the Rabble red decks run into in standard?
Right. Looks like there were only about a little less than 30 players who chose to go powerless in this tournament.
Only 30 players out of whatever, 320 something?
Yeah, and one of them's a dredge deck.
Just no bazaars?
No bazaars, yeah. I think there might be a manaless dredge, someone said.
Sure. All right. That's a decent price for that, right?
Yeah, it's like $400.
$400?
You could finish, lower third of the tournament if you're the highest finishing player.
Right.
Without power, then there's a $400 prize for that.
That's cool.
But I mean, but if you have the power, I mean, I gotta tell you, it's like
Having the power and choosing not to use them.
and choosing not to use it, like in the one big event a year that you get to play Vintage,
it's tough.
It's a little perverse.
Yeah, I would be very tempted to run Merfolk as an unpowered deck.
Right.
I mean, the Sapphire is spectacular, but
Sapphire's Time Walk is spectacular.
you take out the Sapphire, the Walk, and the Ancestral, you're not winning the tournament now, but I mean, you could make a run in top 8 with that deck.
Right.
I mean, just the base deck when it doesn't draw the restricted cards is still
You
good.
could probably Ether Vial, and
I'm not sure you have that much time.
yeah.
You can think about it. You can Mutavault. Mutavaults are good in that deck if you're.
Yeah, oh yeah,
you have some spots
absolutely.
left over. All the Lords you wind up with.
Yeah. Smashing for 5 with Mutavault.
Yeah, the first Merfolk deck I was looking at on Magic Online, guy had like 4-0 to daily event with a Merfolk deck, had Mutavaults instead of Wastelands.
Welcome to
I mean,
round
I think he just didn't own Wastelands.
Sure.
But I'm like,
A
I'll
reasonable
test
assumption.
a couple Mutavaults, and they're